Hi, I'm Peggy Jordan, Code Enforcement Officer with the City of Louisville. I'm doing a Section 8 inspection today as a training video for all new owners. First off, we're going to start with the front door. Come through the front door, what you want to check for, make sure it opens, closes easy, locks, and then you want to check the outside of the door, the perimeter, to make sure that it's properly weather stripped. Next, we're going to check the lighting in the room, make sure the light fixture works. And then we're going to come over here to the outlets. Right now, what we're going to do is test the outlets with our electrical tester, and this is how you want it to read, so that you know that it's properly wired. We're checking to make sure it's wired properly and that it's not reverse polarity or open ground. Next, we're going to check the windows. Make sure that they easily open. You want them to open all the way. Then you're going to close them back down and make sure they lock. And it is also important that the windows stay open on their own without the use of any props. Also, in every room, we're going to check the ceilings. And what we're looking for is any water damage, any cracks, any chipping, peeling paint. And you're going to do the same with the walls. Look around, make sure there's no holes in any of the walls. Make sure there's no chipping or peeling paint. Then we're going to look at the floors, and what we're checking for here is to make sure that they are smooth, that there are no tripping hazards. We're looking for if any boards are broken or cracked on these wooden floors. If it's a tile floor, we're going to be looking to see that there's no tiles broken, missing, anything of that nature. Next, we're going to be checking the electric service panel. And what we're checking for here is green inspection sticker, making sure that it was inspected by the city. Making sure that all of our circuits are covered, that there's no gaps, making sure the dead front panel is nice and tight. Next, we're going to be checking smoke detectors. That's what this handy tool is for. And as you can see, it works. Next, we're in the kitchen. Kitchen, we're going to check countertops, make sure they're not cracked or falling apart. Cupboards open, close easy, good condition. Then we come over to the stove. We're going to check all the burners and make sure that the oven works. And everything is good on this. Sometimes you'll have a hood fan up above, and you want to make sure that the filter's clean and that the hood light works. Next, we're going to check the refrigerator. What we're checking for here is to make sure the gasket is nice and tight and not ripped. Make sure it's clean and that all the drawers are in good condition. And also make sure that it's chilling. Then we check the freezer, same thing, gasket, make sure it's in good condition, make sure that it feels cold like it's freezing things. Next, we're going to check the sink. What we're looking for, make sure the water gets hot, that there's adequate water pressure. There's the sprayer, we check that to make sure that it works. Then we're going to check underneath, make sure that the plumbing is good and that there are no leaks and that the sink cabinet is in good repair. Then we're going to come up and check the outlet near the sink to make sure that it's GFI protected. As you see, power, the button, it trips the circuit. Next, we're going to check this GFI, which is not connected to the circuit panel. So you're going to push the button, make sure it turns off, and make sure that it goes back on. Next, we're going to look at the hot water tank, and we want to make sure the safety discharge pipe is in place. Sometimes they'll be on the side of the unit. Also, you want to look for your green inspection sticker. And if it's a gas unit, you want to make sure that the flue is properly mortared to the chimney and in good condition. This particular unit has a washer-dryer connection, so we want to make sure that they're in good working order. Now we're going to inspect one of the bedrooms. We start with the door. Check to make sure the door is in good working order, that it closes and latches properly. Then we're going to check the outlets in the room. Make sure that they all work, and you are required to have 2 outlets for each bedroom. Then we check the windows. All windows must open, stay open on their own, close, and lock. We also want to make sure that the windows are not blocked, that there's a clear path of egress to them for an emergency. Also, we're checking the walls, the ceiling, the floors, make sure everything is in good condition. And all bedrooms are required to have a working smoke detector. Next, we're going to inspect the bathroom. We're going to check to make sure the mechanical fan works, or it has to have an openable window. Then we're going to check the water, again to make sure there's hot water, and to make sure there's no leaks. And that the water pressure is sufficient and no clogs. We're also going to check the toilet and make sure it's tightly secured to the floor. We're going to flush it and make sure it's not clogged up. Then we're going to check the shower, again for hot water, and make sure that there's enough water pressure. We're also going to make sure that the tub is properly caulked and that the surface is in good condition, that there's no rust, mold, or any kind of stains. The other thing a bathroom requires is a locking mechanism on the door. Next, we're going to look at the key components in a basement. We're going to start with the furnace. And what we're looking for here is to make sure that the filter is clean. And we're checking the condensation pipe to make sure it either goes into a box or runs across to a drain. We're also looking at the gas line. It cannot be flex going through the furnace cabinet. It has to be hard piped. We're also going to look to make sure it has an inspection sticker. And we're also going to check the flues to make sure that they're in good order. And if they go to a chimney, we're going to make sure they're mortared tightly to the chimney. The other thing we're going to look at in a basement is the foundation walls to make sure there's no cracks or holes, that there's no light coming through, that rodents can get in. And some other things we look at in a basement, we're going to check any open junction boxes. This particular basement doesn't have any. We're also going to check for the dryer vent and make sure that the dryer is vented. This house is empty, so there's no dryer to check, but we do check for that. And we just do a general check around the basement, make sure nobody's sleeping down there, because most basements don't qualify for bedrooms. And that wraps up our inspection of the basement. Next, we're going to inspect the exterior of the property. We're going to look to make sure it has street numbers. We're going to check the exterior outlet and make sure it has power. Then we're going to check, make sure that the exterior globe is in place. Make sure the door is in good repair. Next, we're going to inspect the windows and make sure they're in good repair, not broken. Then we're going to look at the gutters and make sure they don't need cleaned out. And the downspouts, make sure they're all connected. We're going to look at the siding, make sure it's in good repair. If there was soffit and fascia on the house, we're going to also check that. And now we'll go around to the back of the house. Now we're at the rear of the house, and there's a porch back here, so we're going to check and make sure the handrails are in good repair, guardrails, anything over 4 steps needs a handrail. We're also going to make sure that there's street numbers in the back if there's an alley behind the house. Globe is in place. And now we're going to go and check the air conditioner unit. Next, we're going to check the AC unit. And what we're looking for here is to make sure that the dead front panel is in place inside of the AC disconnect. Some of them won't have the dead fronts if they're manufactured that way, but you shouldn't see any wires inside of this box. Lastly, we're looking at the foundation to make sure that it is plumb, make sure that the mortar joints are all in place. And if there was a chimney on the property, we would also check that as well for mortar joints and make sure it's in good repair. Okay, that should conclude our inspection. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Thank you.